Roald Dahl, the amazing storyteller, which is probably what most people know him for, but how many of you actually knew that he was an ace fighter pilot in World War II? Roald Dahl, the beloved author who whisked us away to fantastical worlds of chocolate factories and giant peaches, also had a life of adventure that rivals his fictional tales. Before captivating readers like me with whimsical characters, Dahl soared through the skies as a fighter pilot for the Royal Air Force during World War II. This unexplored chapter of his life sheds light on the experiences that subtly influenced his imaginative stories. You may have read his books about giants, chocolate factories, flying elevators, witches, and giant peaches, but the memoirs in his book Going Solo are equally fascinating. As a kid, I wasn't a big reader, but the Roald Dahl books I did read. I loved them. Let me know in the comments which of his stories is your favourite. Dahl was born in Wales in 1916 to Norwegian parents. Dahl's mischievous streak at school often landed him in trouble, subject to harsh punishments by teachers and prefects. These experiences, though unpleasant, might have contributed to the rebellious and sometimes dark humour found in his later works, like Matilda or George's Marvellous Medicine. Dahl's thirst for adventure manifested early. Instead of pursuing university studies after boarding school like his schoolmates did, he craved a life less ordinary. He landed a job with the Shell Oil Company, which offered him the chance to travel to far-flung corners of the British Empire, like Dar es Salaam in East Africa, which is present-day Tanzania. However, with the dark clouds of World War II looming, Dahl's adventurous spirit found a new calling. He enlisted in the King's African Rifles in 1939 at the age of 22. He received a commission as a lieutenant and was assigned a command of a platoon of Askaris, but his time there was brief, very brief. He actually transferred just after a month. Dahl's true desire was to take to the skies. He saw the RAF as a chance for greater adventure and to become an aviator. Dahl's path to aviation began in 1939 on the precipice of war. Despite exceeding the typical height requirements at 6'6", his determination secured a spot in flight training in Africa. Here, amidst the vast plains, he soared in a de Havilland Tiger Moth, a biplane known for its basic design. The open cockpit meant that the tall Dahl could fit in the aircraft, but he did need to bob down from time to move his head out of the slipstream to breathe. These early flights with the African wildlife as his backdrop instilled a lifelong love of flying. Following his solo flight, Dahl progressed to advanced training in Iraq. By mid-September 1940, Dahl had completed his flight training and received his orders. He was to join 80 Squadron, stationed near the Libyan border in western Egypt. This squadron had been engaged by the Italian forces, necessitating frequent relocations of their base and airstrip. Dahl, eager to join the unit, took off in a Gloucester Gladiator, an aircraft he hadn't flown before. After 7 hours of flight time, while delivering himself and the new aircraft to 80 Squadron, he encountered a critical situation. Dahl may have been given outdated information about the location of the squadron's airfield, and it wasn't where he expected. He was lost, low on fuel, and completely alone as he had no radio. Dahl was forced to make a perilous emergency landing in the unforgiving Libyan Desert. On landing, he hit a boulder, creating a sudden stop, throwing Dahl forward, and Dahl's skull was fractured by hitting a metal reflector sight, and his nose was pushed back into his face. He managed to climb out of the plane before the gas tanks caught on fire and exploded, spewing parts, shrapnel and ammunition all around. He was lucky to escape, and lucky to escape without being more severely burned. Crash landing in no man's land, he was also lucky to be picked up later by British troops patrolling nearby. Quite the lucky guy, but then he did fluff up the landing, so was he lucky or was he not? You let me know in the comments. The resulting crash left him with serious head and back injuries, resulting in a lengthy recovery period in a military hospital. Despite this horrific crash and lasting injuries, he rose through the ranks and proved himself to be a skilled pilot. His most remarkable feats came during the spring of 1941 in a series of daring missions over Greece and Crete. Outnumbered and chasing heavily armoured German Junker 88 bombers, Dahl, flying a Hawker Hurricane, shot down 5 enemy confirmed. This accomplishment earned him the coveted title Flying Ace, a distinction awarded to pilots with at least 5 confirmed aerial victories. Eventually, High Command gave up on Greece and held one last offensive. They flew over Athens in a tight formation in a daring display of strength aimed to lift the spirits of the Athenian people. However, the mission took a drastic turn and became known as the Battle of Athens. According to Dahl, their seemingly peaceful flight was interrupted by a sudden swarm of enemy aircraft. The 12 Hurricane took on 17 bombers and over 100 Messerschmitt 109s. It was an intense battle with 5 Hurricanes shot down and 3 damaged. Dahl retreated with what was left of his squadron after losing their squadron leader, Marmaduke Pat Patel. He was left exhilarated and shaken. Dahl was quite the pilot, but his luck ran out later that same year. A second, even more severe crash in June 1941 left him with serious head and back injuries. Details surrounding Dahl's second crash are less clear, but the lasting effects included severe headaches and limited mobility, which forced him to relinquish his dream of continuing to be a fighter pilot. Whilst his injuries ultimately prevented him from returning to combat, Dahl's courage and skill as a fighter pilot cemented his place among the RAF's elite. Now grounded, Dahl's adventurous spirit still couldn't be contained. Recognizing his potential beyond piloting, the RAF appointed him as an assistant air attaché at the British Embassy in Washington, D.C. Here he embarked on a clandestine mission as an intelligence officer for the British Security Coordination. This was the start of his secret spy career. He had 2 roles. Public relations was one. He used his charm and flying experience to generate positive public opinion in the United States about the British war effort. This probably involved giving talks, interviews, and attending social events. And the second role was intelligence gathering. Dahl played a role in espionage. This might have involved cultivating relationships with American officials and socialites, including members of the Roosevelt family, subtly gathering information about American political and military strategies. If you're enjoying this story so far, do think to give me a like and a subscribe. If you want to know more about anybody else's story, then you can leave a suggestion and a super thanks, and I'll put that suggestion at the top of the list for you. Your support for the channel is appreciated and it encourages me to keep going. Every little helps. Dahl's experience in the RAF undoubtedly influenced his stories. The camaraderie and danger faced by pilots likely found echoes in his stories. The mischievous creatures known as gremlins, often blamed for technical problems with aircraft, were a direct product of his own wartime experiences. Some suggest that the harrowing crash landing in Libya might have even inspired the fantastical journey of James and the Giant Peach. The protagonist's escape from danger, defying gravity in a giant fruit, could be a metaphorical reflection of Dahl's own brush with death. Whilst his flying career ended up being short-lived, the impact of aviation on Dahl's life's work is undeniable. The discipline, courage and camaraderie he experienced in the RAF likely instilled in him the values of resilience and resourcefulness that resonated in his fictional characters. His books are really loved and they got me reading as a kid, and so many of his stories have been adapted to plays and the big screen. What an incredible story and set of achievements that he leaves behind. Roald Dahl passed away in 1990 at the age of 74. He died in Oxford, England, leaving behind an incredible legacy. I hope you enjoyed that short video on Roald Dahl. What an incredible life that he led. If you want to see some more amazing videos on people in aviation, then check out my videos here and search for me under Stories of Aviation on YouTube. Bye for now.